Awesome. So, hello everyone. I am Andrea. I'm the events catalyst for the Immersive series and your co-host for today's gathering. I'm tuning in from Bucharest, Romania. I want to warmly welcome you to our gathering and swiftly introduce our guest for today. Dory is a speaking and confidence coach who helps entrepreneurs increase their revenue and expand their impact through public speaking. She shows them how to turn their expertise into powerful talks that naturally attract premium clients while transforming speaking anxiety into authentic confidence through somatic methods. With her guidance, business owners step into the spotlight and become recognized experts in their field by sharing their unique stories and messages. And now over to you.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for the intro and welcome everyone. Before I start with the workshop today, I would love to share a little story with you. Before I started doing public speaking coaching full time, I used to organize conferences. And these conferences were all around the world. We organized it for online entrepreneurs, for nomads. And one specific conference stayed with me. This was the one in Croatia. And the reason why it's very special is because one speaker who got on stage, and you can imagine that in a conference you have like 200, sometimes 300 people. And this speaker just made everyone so engaged with his talk. And the whole room was silent, and you literally couldn't fit one more person in the room. People were hanging on the walls, they were standing, they were sitting sometimes on the floor because everyone was super curious. You could literally hear a pin drop. That's how silent the whole room was. Everybody was leaning in, super engaged. And for me, this was a very special one because I've seen so many speakers, I've seen so many people take the stage. And this was the time when I started to have this desire that I would like to be on stage as a speaker myself and not just the event host. But immediately after I had this huge desire that, oh, that would be really great, I had this inner whisper started to talk to me that, no, you're not a speaker. You're not good enough. You're not ready. And all of these voices. Who can relate to these voices? Just raise of hands. Like, have you ever had this? You had something, you wanted to do something, but immediately in a split second, you start to talk yourself out of it. So the first opportunity when arrived that I could actually do a talk and I could submit a talk for a conference, I just couldn't get myself to do it because this fear was so big that it literally defeated me. I was like, no, I cannot do that. And I was there again, organizing another conference, sitting in the audience and watching all the speakers. And meanwhile, I was thinking, I wish I had the courage to be up there and share my message as well. And after the conference, I called my friend, my best friend. She lives in Hungary, and I called her and I was like, Nori, I cannot take this. This is so annoying. I feel so frustrated. I feel annoyed and disappointed in myself that the fear defeated me. Like, and I'm still not there. So I need you to take control and help me and be my accountability buddy or do whatever it needs to take. Just help me to overcome this fear so I can also be on stage and share my message. And she replied super enthusiastically, like, yes, this is the perfect thing for me. I would love to help you. And you're going to be on that stage sharing your message sooner than you can think of. And a few months later, I was actually on stage sharing my first keynote in front of 150 people. And I can tell you that it wasn't perfect. My voice was shaking sometimes. I wasn't used to stage as I could have done. And the fear was still there. The fear definitely was still there, but the difference was this time that it didn't stop me. I didn't let it stop me. So the reason I'm sharing you with this story is I want you all to reflect how many times you let that inner voice defeat you. Let that inner voice hold you back. And whether if it's speaking related, whether if it's starting a business, whether if it's just asking someone out on a date or starting a new hobby, I think we can all relate that this inner voice and this inner critic is just there in the background. And sometimes, unfortunately, it can win. Who can relate and who can recall maybe a situation when you had that? With a raise of hands, you can just show me that, yes, I had this, that I wanted to do something and it was just too much to bear and the fear won. So that's why I wanted to do the talk and the workshop around this topic, because no matter what you are doing currently, like, this inner voice is there. And it's so important that we talk about how we can overcome this fear. Because it's super, super frustrating that deep down you have this desire and you know that I'm capable of so much more, so much more. And a part of you really believes that. And the part of you really thinks that, yes, I'm not using my full potential here. And this part says, yes, let's go, let's do it, take risk, take action. You can do bigger things. You can achieve that. And then there is this other part who immediately jumps in, just like my part did, just like my inner critic did. Who are you to do this? You're not good enough. You can't do that. So the first thing that I would like us to all do is figure out, what are these stories? What are these stories in our head? Because some stories can lift us up. I can figure it out. What do you think? How is a person acting when you have this story that I can figure this out? You can just put it in the chat. What do you think? It's going to be an interactive workshop, I can tell you that. So we were going to use the chat, and I would love to see your answers. Like, how is that person acting who has this story that I can do that? I can figure this out. Anyone? Hesitantly. Someone who has that I can. I'm not sure, Kasha, that I
Well, I
understand how.
apologize. I thought you said who does not have that. So apologize.
Oh, okay. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So the first one was like, I can figure this out. If someone has that story, then that person tend to be more bold, tend to have more, taking more risks, right? I can figure it out is experimental mindset. Will not think a binary success or failure. Growth mindset, asking for help, confident, self-assured. Yes. On the other hand, what happens if someone says, I cannot do that? I can do this. How is that person acting? Now, Kashat, yours, the hesitant is definitely true. What else? How is that person acting? Acting from a place of fear, deflated. Yeah. We have deflated, hesitant. Waits to maintain the status quo. Self-doubt takes over. Not having fun. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. That person is holding herself back, not gonna take risk, not gonna take the action, is gonna probably hide more, avoid situations, because the story is that I cannot do this. So I would like to do an exercise with all of you. I'm gonna ask all of you to please close your eyes, and I'm going to share some music. We're just gonna do a quick visualization here. Can do this. Can you hear both the music and me clearly? Perfect. So I'm gonna ask you, please just sit comfortably. I invite you to close your eyes for a second. It's just gonna be a very short one. Just close your eyes and just picture a situation. It can be a recent one, it can be past. And just recall the situation where your inner critic stopped you from doing something that you actually wanted to do. The inner voices and the stories were more on the negative side, the holding you back. And I just want to ask you to just go back to this scene for a second. Just really see yourself there. See who's around you. Where are you? Just really picture yourself in this scene. What's going on? What is the thing that you really want to do? But something is just keeps holding you back. And now I want to ask you to start checking in, like, what are the thoughts? What are these stories that are coming up for you? What are you telling yourself? Maybe it's that I'm not ready. What's wrong with me? I will embarrass myself. What would others think if I would do this? What are the thoughts? Maybe it's, I don't know where to start. Who I am to do this? What if I fail? And what are the emotions that are coming up for you? What are you feeling? Is there fear? Is there a feeling of overwhelm? Frustration? Maybe you're feeling a little bit guilty or anxious. What are the feelings? Just notice them. And now just open your eyes and let's just share it in the chat. Feel free to just put it. It's a safe space. We're all in together. Like, just share a few. What thoughts came up for you? What emotions showed up? Because the more we can identify and be aware, what are these? That's when we can actually start actively changing them. So it's super important that we know what is this, because usually what happens, and feel free to start putting it in the chat, what happens is that we have at least one or two that are going on repeat. It's almost like a mental playlist in our head. Scared to be lonely. Yeah. What else? What came up? You can share emotions, you can share thoughts, insecurity, who I am to do this, imposter syndrome when applying to jobs. Yeah. Fear of being judged, doubts. Yeah. Overwhelmed always by a question, who I am to do this again. I keep wanting to do this, but I never do it, yet it doesn't go away. Fear of coming across inauthentic, attached to our identity. Yeah, procrastination. Yeah, exactly. What if I fail? Others are better than me, having proof that I'm not really that good. Yeah, all of this. And I want you to notice already something powerful, and it's super important that just by writing these down and reflecting, what are these? You already created a tiny bit of distance between you and the thought and the emotion. Thank you for sharing all of this. And now what I wanna all to explore, what are we doing when we are feeling like this? First question for you is who likes feeling discomfort or like all of this? Anyone? Anyone likes feeling that? Nobody. Nobody likes that. So, what do you think what do we do when we don't like something, when we feel discomfort? You can feel free to put it in the chat. What do we do then? And you're just like, no. Avoid it. Avoid it. Yes, immediately. Dismiss, push it away. Yeah. We're all humans. We don't wanna go. We just run away. Yeah, ignore it, make excuses. Exactly. So these are the things, everything basically what we are doing here, pushing away, making excuses. There's something we all do, and it can be different for all of us here. It can be similar, we can have similar things. We do have coping mechanisms. And these coping mechanisms are the ones helping us to ignore it, to run away, to avoid. Because we don't want to face this discomfort. No one wants to feel fear or self-doubt constantly. We just want to just run away, go to put it in the back of our head. So my question for you, what do you do when you feel these? What is your reaction to this? And I'm going to give you a few examples, and feel free to start putting it in the chat, which one resonates. Do you feel procrastination, that you're doing procrastinating, that you put the things off and waiting for the perfect moment to come? Maybe some of you overthink and you just get stuck in this endless planning and second guessing, and you just cannot get out because it's just analyzes and paralyzes and you just get stuck in that. Some of you might have perfectionist attitude and you hold yourself into this impossible standard, and it's until it's not perfect, I cannot put it out, I cannot share it, I cannot do this, I cannot apply for the job because I need another qualification, I need another certificate. Some of you might have people-pleasing tendencies and you would rather say yes to something else, either something that you don't want to do or putting someone else's priority instead of doing the thing that you would know that you need to do, just because you tell yourself the story that no, this person needs me, but actually this is just an escape for you to, okay, now I'm escaping this feeling and this task. I see some procrastination, overthink, all of the above so far, perfectionism. And some of you is avoidance and numbing is very similar to procrastination, but it's also you really just go and distract yourself with either social media, scrolling, Netflix, or sometimes even busy working, but you're not working on the thing that you know that you should be working on. Someone put ruminating and trying to be perfect. Yes. Okay, so what I would love to do right now, I'm just gonna give you like 2 minutes in a breakout rooms. So Andrea, can we just create like breakout rooms, 2 people in each room, and just take 1 minute each and just share which one is yours, share which one is your coping mechanism. What is that you recognize mostly in yourself, and just share it with the partner in the room. Yeah.
So I created 7 breakout rooms. We're gonna have like 2 or 3
Okay,
participants per room,
perfect.
just FYI.
So,
Yeah.
so we're gonna do 3 minutes in case someone has 3 people there. So all of you can share. Everyone has just 1 minute, so just short. Don't go into like a big story around it. Okay, we will see you back here at 26, 23. Okay.
Awesome.
Perfect. How was it? Anyone would like to share and unmute yourself? We just had a little chat with Suzanne here. Anyone else would like to share it with us? Feel free. You can just put the chat here, or you can also No one?
Yeah, I can go.
Yeah.
Praveen here. And it was me and Ina in the room, and we almost relate to most of the things that you were discussing, Dory. Yeah, so sometimes it's procrastination, sometimes it's escapism, sometimes you wait for someone to call you for a coffee break, and you just want to move away from that scene, which you are trying to avoid or work on the task. So more
Yeah.
or less, we related to many things in terms of mindless scrolling. Sometimes you have an important task but you don't want to go there. You're either on LinkedIn. And sometimes I keep revisiting and rewriting some of this text just to keep myself busy, right? But not
Mhm.
really productive. Yeah, I think we were able to relate to some of this escapism mechanisms, coping mechanisms that we were
Yeah.
discussing.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Feel free.
Oh, well, I'll jump in. One
Yeah.
thing that my name is Cache, and one thing in our group that we discussed, actually, that Sonia, one of my group members, mentioned was this idea of rationalization when it
Mhm.
comes to the conversations we're having with ourselves and how we rationalize not
Yes.
doing the thing in some way, shape, or form. And as she mentioned, it's this idea of from the outside looking in, objectively speaking, you do have a reason for not doing the thing. But we know that, that is just an excuse for us to not lean into those feelings or those emotions about whatever it is that we're feeling called to do. So I thought that was very insightful.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. It's actually we're gonna get there very soon now, and that's super accurate. We are super good at creating excuses why we're not doing the thing that we said we're gonna do or we need to do. So I think now all of you can see this slide that I put here. Can we all agree that this is true? That our emotions and our thoughts influence our actions and behaviors, and obviously actions and behaviors drive the results. We all say that it's right, it's okay? Okay. So if we want to change the result, what do you think? What do we need to adjust here? Like, what is the thing? Do we start with the actions? Do we start with the emotions and the thoughts? What is your thought? Just put it in the chat. Where do you want to where would you start? What do you think? We just want a different result. We just want to actually start doing the thing and get that. Change my internal conversation thoughts. I would add a level energy as the basis. So I love that in the group earlier it was think act. Now I guess it's act and think simultaneously. Ideally emotions. Okay. Change the actions. Change the thought. Okay, we have a few ideas here. So most people, many of us, would start with the action because obviously if I change the action, that's gonna affect the result. So this is when we fall into the trap of creating new habits, finding productivity hacks, building new systems, how we operate either in work or in personal life. The problem with that is, yes, if we change, if we want to, for example, start having more time and then we force ourselves to get up early in the morning, yes, we're going to gain that 1 hour, but we really rely on willpower and motivation. And I think we all know that willpower and motivation is just comes and goes. Willpower can really run out when you force yourself to do things over and over again, and you actually don't really want to do that. So you're relying on that. Motivation comes and goes. You cannot rely on that, that it's always going to be there. And the moment the motivation drops and the willpower just fades away, we're just going to fall back to the same things, to the same coping mechanisms that we did before. So many of you said in the chat that start with emotions and thoughts, and this is what I believe that we should all start. And what do you think, what happens when you start there with the emotions and the thoughts? You can just put it in the chat. Someone said actually there, I just see Nicolette, that changed the thought while getting comfortable with the emotion. I love that. Any other? I'm just checking ideally emotions. That was there. So I'm going to give you, and I will share how I see it. And this is what I discovered with myself and also with my clients. When we start there with the emotions and the thoughts, it's crucial because we actually not avoid the task itself. We are not avoiding the task. What we are avoiding is the emotion or the thought that the task is giving us. So when you are self-employed, for example, you're avoiding launching your offer because you're afraid that no one will buy and you will feel like a failure. If you are avoiding asking for a raise, is because you are actually just being afraid that someone will say, your boss will say no, and you will feel unworthy. And then you start questioning, like, is this right for me to do it or not? You're actually not avoiding posting on social media because that's easy. You can just post whatever, but you are afraid being judged and criticized. So that's what you actually avoid. And that's why we are coming up with excuses why we are not doing those. So I mentioned in my story as well that the fear is always going to be there. We can have fear of rejection. We can have the fear that we're going to fail. There's so many different types of fear that we can have when we would like to achieve something and maybe we never done that. So obviously there's a fear of uncertainty. And the fear will always be there. I can guarantee you that. It was still there when I took that stage for my first keynote. And I still felt it the moment before I had to go on stage, I almost fainted. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But then you take that step, you just really take that as small as it is, and you just allow the fear to be there. And the best analogy I think that I can give you here is that just think about fear as being a passenger in your car, just sitting in the back, constantly talking. No, don't go there. Turn right. Stop the car. Just turn back. We don't want to go there. But you're the one driving. So your job is only to just let it talk in the back seat, but just keep driving. So my question then, do you see how it always comes actually back to the emotions and the thoughts? And this is why we need to learn how to manage those. Does it make sense? Can you just raise your hand or put a yes in the chat so I see that you're still with me? Yes. Okay, I'm happy that we agree on that. So I'm going to give you this 4-step process and that I use. And if you're familiar with ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy, this is something that they also use there. So how we start to learn how to manage the thought, so the thought or the emotion is not going to stop us. So the first thing we're going to do here is catch the thought. That's what we were discovering and bringing the awareness in the very beginning in the session. You need to be aware that this is happening now. Oh, okay. I'm telling myself I'm not good enough, and you just catch it in the moment. The second thing, you name it. Here is the story, or I'm noticing. What do you think? What is the difference if I say I'm afraid? I'm noticing fear. You can just put it in the chat. What is the difference there? I'm afraid. I'm noticing fear. You're not the emotion. Yes. Detachment. You are or have a feeling. Exactly what you're saying there. That's it. You detach yourself from that. You created distance. So right now, if I say I'm afraid, I am basically becoming that, the thought itself. If I say, interesting, I'm noticing fear. Or you can also say, here is the story again that I'm not good enough. There's a distance there. I can still have that thought and act on something else because I don't believe, because the thought is not a fact. And the problem comes when we start treating them as facts, because it just keeps going in our head, and now we start to believe them. And when we start to believe them, then it becomes a fact. But it's still not a fact, it's just a thought. So detachment, creating distance is super important. Third step, engage the body. Do some movement, anything. Dance, go for a walk, do some jumping jacks, whatever it is, just engage the body. Because the thing here, what happens is you're stuck in your head, and now we want to bring you back to your body. And the moment you start engaging the body, you will realize that, okay, you just feel so much more lighter, and like, okay, it's easier to just like get rid of that thought. And the fourth one is, I think the most important one, take action. Any small action that is going to show you and prove you that I can take action even if I have this thought. Even if I tell myself I'm not ready, I can take the smallest action that proves and shows me that actually, no, I am ready. What is that smallest action for you? And this is basically like you let the fear be in the back seat, but you are taking the action. So these are the 4 steps. You can take a screenshot in case you didn't write them down. This is the 4th step, and I always encourage everyone to, the moment you have that thought, catch it, name it, engage, take action. The more you start doing it, the less likely that you're going to have these thoughts as frequently. Does it sound like something easy to do for all of you? You can put it in the chat, or maybe anyone who already is using something similar. You can also show it in the chat. Externalize. If you have that. Is it something that you are willing to try and start using? Yeah? Can I see the hands or the yeses in the chat? Amazing. The only difference with the emotion is when you have a strong emotion, either if it's like frustration, overwhelm, fear, and you feel like that the emotion is actually way stronger right now, and I found it that's a little bit the harder part when you just have the thought, but the emotion will probably come. So the only difference is the step 3, where you're not engaging the body, but you are actually sitting with your emotion and making room for it. And I want to give you and share a free meditation that I created for my clients. It's a 15-minute one. I will just put it in the chat. Feel free to download and use it. What it helps you is it just guides you through of the emotion that you're currently experiencing without judgment, without trying to change it. And then just by allowing it to be there, you will notice that, okay, I can just sit with it, because as we all said, we are running away from this, but that's exactly the opposite that we need to do here. We need to be okay feeling whatever we are feeling currently. So the more you can do that, to sit in that discomfort, the better is it going to be for you, and the emotions are not going to control you. So I encourage you to try out this is specifically for that, but any meditation that is just helping you, just like sitting, that is really useful. So now we talked about the managing the thoughts, emotions. And now I want to bring you back that this is really just the tip of the iceberg. And I know that I shared that slide with you where this was on the top, but actually this is not the root cause. And if you start with the root cause, that's when the thoughts and the emotions I actually can completely maybe disappear. And the root cause is the beliefs that you have about yourself. If you manage to change those or rewrite those, then the emotions and the thoughts are going to be way less frequent. And then the actions and the results are all going to change because they all go hand by hand. So can you just put some of the limiting beliefs maybe that you have or you already noticed that is keep playing in your head? I will give you some common ones. This is the most common ones that I hear people say. I'm not good enough. Others can do it, but I can't. I don't know enough. I need to be perfect before I start. People will judge me. I have to be perfect first. I have to make everyone happy. I don't know enough. Yes, very common one. This has been done before. Not good, not experienced enough. Yes. The grass is not only greener elsewhere. What if I regret taking that step? Everyone is better than me and knows, but okay. Yeah. These are very common ones, and I hope that it helps all of you to see in the chat that okay, other people have these. I have that too. Okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one having these thoughts. And who knows what is somatic work? Anyone knows what is a somatic work? Kashet, I can see your hand. Others? Do you want to share, Kashet, what in your words, what is somatic work?
Basically, it's work that really pays attention to what's going on within your body. Noticing the sensations, noticing those feelings, noticing if you have kind of knots in your stomach in the moment, but getting your clients to be able to tap into that and have them notice what it might be saying to them about the moment that they may not even recognize as happening. So.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Exactly that. So you are, instead of focusing on your mind and let's say traditional ways of talk therapy, you're engaging the body and you're working with the body. Somatic means body work, basically. And the way I got into this, it was actually, I was in Mexico and I felt like really like on, I don't know if anyone can relate, but you feel almost like you're rock bottom, but it's just a feeling and nothing else is really proves that. Like everyone else is looking at you from the outside and thinks that, oh my God, you have the perfect life. But deep inside, you feel like, I feel so stuck. I feel really disconnected. I don't know what's going on. And when I felt like this, the first time in my life, I started to feel that I'm waking up with anxiety. And this was a very new experience for me because I could get anxious sometimes during the day, like if something happens, but like waking up with that and going to bed with that, that was something I've never experienced before. And it started to affect other areas of my life, my personal life, my private life with my partner, work, just in general, my social life. I was not social, and I'm like a super social extrovert person, loves to connect, loves to be out there. So I felt like this is the time for me that I need to ask for help. And I reached out to a friend, and I thought that it's just going to be more of like we're going to talk about it. She can be there as a friend, but she also has the objective view because she didn't know me as much. And she was also a coach. So I'm like, perfect. And I reached out, I shared everything, how I'm feeling, what's going on. And she looked at me and said, Dory, you've been here, you're sharing what's been going on, but the only thing that I don't see is that you're actually feeling your emotions. And I was like, this is a mistake. This girl is not listening. Like clearly, I'm just explaining. I feel anxious. I feel this. I feel that. What am I doing? I'm just wasting my time. And then I thought, I want to understand what she's saying. And she said, like, let's just do this. Let's just do a few exercises. I will walk you through, and then we can talk about it. And then she walked me through, and this was my first somatic experience. I haven't tried it before. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, now I get you. Now I see what's going on. I'm not feeling it. And there's a saying that whatever you resist, persist. And I knew it, I heard it, but that's the moment when I put it together, two and two, like, oh my God, this is how it feels like when I feel my emotions and not just trying to change them, because I think this is what we all do. We try to change them, we are analyzing them. Why is it here? Like, how can I make it go away, run away from it, and all of that. So the point of my story was that if you haven't tried somatic work, I highly encourage you to do it. There are different forms and ways. You can do breath work. There is like somatic dance as well. So many different ways. The way that I teach and the way that works the best for me is somatic emotional release. So it's not like a dance. We are just sitting there and really going inside and feeling the emotions. It's almost like a deep meditation with inner child thing. And for me, this was a game changer. And I've been using it with my clients because I do see how much other people are doing exactly the same, that we think that we feel the emotions, but we are not feeling them. We're just escaping. So if you have a chance, or if you would like to reach out, feel free. I'm also happy to share more about it, but do something that is engaging your body, because that's what's really going to help you to get rid of the beliefs and override them. So talk therapy is super useful, but I found it way more useful to go to the source, because the body keeps the score and everything has an imprint somewhere in the body. And these unprocessed emotions are actually fueling your limiting beliefs. So everything from childhood, even the smallest thing, can still be there. So the last thing I wanted to do, and we're gonna, we still have time for a breakout room. I really would like all of you to right now write down what is that task that came up for me in the very beginning. What was that task that I told myself I'm keep avoiding? And just write it down so you know it. Just write it down. Just remember it. What is that task?
Creating now the breakup.
1 second. I will just explain. And then when you have it, now just think about, what is the smallest step I can do today to just get a tiny bit closer to this? And if it's a task that has like multiple things, then ask yourself as well, like, what would be the step that I can take this week as well, that it's a tiny bit bigger, to help me accomplish this task that I keep avoiding. And if I have to, I will go back and start unhooking myself from the thoughts, do the meditation, anything in order for me to help me do that step and take that action. And now I would like all of you to share it with a partner in the room, in the breakout room. Can we create maybe different breakout rooms, Andrea?
Yeah, I can recreate them.
Perfect. So now you're gonna see someone else there, and it's up to you if you wanna keep each other accountable. I think that's super useful. But even just like sharing it with someone is already helps. So both of you, please do again that you share it with the other person. What is that step that you're gonna take? And we will see you back in 3 minutes. The main room. We will close the rooms. Sharing, Sarah. Anyone else? We can do one more. What is the step? The more you say it out and the more other people hear it, the better the chances that you're actually going to do this. Anyone? If no one goes, then I will just share one last thing with you. And I'm sure that many of you have heard this quote, that knowledge is nothing without action. And I really would like to ask all of you that start using the thing that I just shared, the 4 steps. Take the action that now you just written down and shared with someone in the room. Because the more you really get into this action mode, and that's when the momentum will build up. So nothing will really change if you just take this session and you were here and participated, but you're not taking the action and you're not starting practicing. So I would really encourage all of you to start using the unhooking, start feeling your emotions, sit with it without trying to change it, and do the actions. Don't avoid the task, even if it's boring, even if it's scary, just do it. And that's when you can get to a different position in 6 months, in a year. So that's what I prepared. I hope that you all liked it. And if you want, I can give you also a journaling prompt that you can just journal. You can ask yourself, what opportunities have I missed because of my inner critic? I'm gonna put it in the chat. If you want, this is gonna help you to see really the cost of being held back by that inner voice. That was me right around time. Thank you so much for staying. And if you would like to connect with me, you can find me on social media, on Instagram, LinkedIn. I think Andrea shared it. So thank you so much for being interactive, for participating, and for showing up for you.
I also want to thank everyone who attended. It was lovely. And thank you, Dory, for this heartwarming session. Yep, thank you, everyone. And please, I encourage you to give us feedback for the session. In Luma, you'll receive the email with the feedback, the automatic feedback. And I've also dropped the link for the next immersive in the chat, and anyone is interested, feel free to register. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and thank you again, Tori, for this session. I loved it.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Bye, everyone. Have a nice evening.